Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Motivate Me Monday. My name is Cindy Fox, and I am here to motivate myself and hopefully I can motivate somebody else. So, today I wanted to talk about ebb and flow of life, right? I really hate having bad days, and sometimes I'm seeming like I'm having a lot of them lately. And so, what is a bad day for me? I'm sure some of you will be like, "Oh, that ain't a bad day." But for me, a bad day is when I'm feeling anxiety and I'm feeling a lot of those old feelings come back to me that keep wanting to tell me that I'm not good enough and that I should just give up on my dreams and blah, 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 all these things. And so that's when I'm having a bad day, is when those things are kind of attacking me again. And it really is just the ebb and flows of our lives coming and going. And every day, Saturday, I felt so good. And then Sunday, I felt so bad. How can I go from one extreme to another in just a short amount of time? And there's really nothing significant in those days to really show for it. But overall, I guess really the ebb and flow of life is those things that we have going on in the background for us, right? I have some relationship things going on with my daughter. I have some relationship things going on with my father that are really hard for me to understand and really hard for me and sometimes they overwhelm me, right? So you'll hear me talk about the ebb and flows a lot, and I have kind of um, defined my ebb and flows. My ebbs are my eternal broken battle. That's when the brokenness of who I am and what I've always thought on my life just wants to keep coming back and flowing back to me. That's when I know I'm in ebb, when those things just keep pouring in. And the more I have something that's going on in my life, with a relationship that's very confusing or very hard for me to understand, the more that ebb comes back and goes, girl, you need to give this up, hang it up. Right. And so that just is a part of normal life for all of us. We all go through these ebb and flows. We all have our own eternal broken battle that's going on in our minds. We really have to work ourselves out of having those those kind of emotional breakdowns. So that is my path right now, is working on those emotional breakdowns that keep coming up for me. So I'm encouraging you to keep going and keep going, because just like today, I didn't really feel like getting on here and doing a Motivate Me Monday. I don't really feel like I'm in the best place to serve you, right? I feel like maybe I'm a fraud. Sometimes I get that kind of feeling inside of me. And the thing is, we have to just keep pushing through all of those things. All the times when we get into that ebb and flow and we get in that ebb state. Now, the flow part is where I've kind of called it freedom level of owning wisdom. Freedom level of owning my wisdom is what I'm trying to do. That's when I'm in flow, when I'm owning the wisdom that God has put inside of me and the connection that I have created in order to know the truth of who I am and where He wants me to be and how He wants me to serve. I know I'm in the flow of that thing. Okay. But the ebbs will keep coming back. And so each day, sometimes it's an ebb and a flow within a moment, within 10 minutes, within a day. Hopefully those get shorter and shorter for us. I notice that has been for me, and I know it will keep getting shorter and shorter for me. But honest to God, I don't think that the ebbs will ever quit coming. I just think we'll always be that. That is in our human nature, to always kind of feel like we are coming up short, especially we start comparing ourselves to other people. We start noticing what other people have that we don't have. And another thing that we notice about our own truths is where we are saying we want one thing out of life, we desire one thing, but yet our actions are not demonstrating that we really want that thing. And so there's an inner conflict inside, and we don't really know what that is. So the way that I kind of feel like we go through the ebb and flows in our lives is when we're going through the ebbs, it's like when we're uncovering our deepest truths, right? The things that we do want for our lives. And then when we go through and discover what those things are that we do want for our lives, we sometimes learn about the behaviors or the activities that we're doing that do not line up with what it is that we say we desire. And so that creates this internal turmoil about, well, we say we want this, but yet we aren't acting as though we want that. And so I know that I have people in my life who do that, which is very confusing to me. And that's what kind of causes me sometimes to kind of step back into my ebb part in battling myself. But I see people in my life who isolate and who like don't have connections with other people. And this is the way that they have always been. They've always wanted life to be that way. They don't want it any different. That's what they say, that's the way they feel, that's the way they describe it. But yet, when you get around them, they're like wanting to really spend time with you. They're loving it and they're enjoying it, and they wonder why you don't come around more often. And so they're having this conflict. They want to be alone, but yet they enjoy it when you come over. And so it's like, how can you be in happiness when you're constantly living in a turmoil about going against what it is that you say you want versus the way that you're acting and that your actions say that you want? And so it's hard for us sometimes to kind of really catch those things. It's really about a mindfulness practice and knowing deepest truths of who you are and what you want. And then how do you align yourself with those things? So I'm finding for me that the ebb and flow of life is really having to learn how to connect the deepest parts of myself. That's the ebb, right? The parts of that I'm saying that I do want to line up with my highest self, which is the parts that I act on, that I behave on, that I work towards creating, and to getting those two things to connect so that the ebbs aren't low and the flows aren't so high, and that it meets a little bit more in the middle. And that is a goal that I'm working on for myself, because I didn't like the roller coaster. I used to have the emotional roller coaster of highs and lows, and so highs and so lows, and the flips and the upside downs and stuff like that. That was just too much. I needed off that roller coaster. And so working on aligning my emotional inner desires and truths and wants for my life is really kind of been a hard work. And that's what sometimes takes me out of my flow and brings me back into the ebb. And so you'll hear me talk about that a lot, because I do believe it's just kind of a cycle of life, a process that we all will always go through. And so learning how to balance that, learning tools that we can use to bring ourselves back to the right place is so important in our journeys, so that we do not stay and linger in those ebbs, and we do not get caught up in them and let them take us down another rabbit hole of emotional lies that we tell ourselves. So that is my story to me today. I hope it helps somebody out there too, but really that was something that I kind of needed to tell myself. And I hope that you got something out of it today. And I look forward to seeing you next week on the next Motivate Me Monday. Until then, I'm Cindy Fox, and keep practicing peace in your life.